This is the Countdown, discussing tomorrow's news today as our top guests tackle the issues that matter with a sharp take on every story. And now, here are your hosts, Andrew Weeks and Onyx Duncan. This is the Countdown, discussing tomorrow's news today as our top guests tackle the issues that matter with a sharp take on every story. And now, here are your hosts, Andrew Weeks and Onyx Duncan.
All right, a very good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Countdown. All right, take a look at this. Oh, it's in the Starbuck News this morning. It's in the Starbuck News this morning in the cartoon section. Someone to see me? What about Foreign Affairs Minister? And it says here, a reminder. Woman at the back is Amanza Walton-Desir, Honorable MP, reminding what Guyana looks like. See what's on the ground there? What's on the ground? Look what the minister's picking up. That's the cartoon section this morning. I don't know what else to say, but welcome to the Countdown. It is Father's Day in Guyana. It is Father's Day. It's our day in Guyana. I want to say a happy Father's Day to all fathers, those who are holding the portfolio of fathers, guardians who are holding the portfolio of fathers. Happy Father's Day. I wish all of you all the best as you enjoy this day today. May you eat and be merry. Eat, drink, and be merry. It is your day. Enjoy it. But we have business to take care of this morning. A number of things are happening in our country. We are close to elections. We are close to nomination day. We have seen DCOMs putting out a lot of information now pertaining to registration, pertaining to forms and all of that now. This crucial hour. Well, I have in the background the Honorable Amanza Walton-Desir, the Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs, and she just break down some of these things that we're having in the background in our country. She's going to be breaking down some of those for us this morning. Onyx Duncan will join us shortly. And so we're going to be rolling. Amanza, good morning and a happy Father's Day. I'm not hearing you. Your mic.
Hi, Andrew. Good morning and happy Father's Day to you and all of the fathers that are joining us today. And even those who are not, all of our Guyanese fathers around the world. A happy Father's Day to you, and may God bless you. Fathers have such an important role to play in the upbringing of our children and instilling discipline and love into the next generation. So we need our fathers. We need our fathers. We need them to be there. We need them to be active. We need them to be present. I saw last week a very funny skit where there was a protest, the no vest, no socks protest. And the guys are basically saying we don't want vests and socks this Father's Day, because of course
no vest, no socks,
no socks. As a child growing up, of course that was the default gift for your father.
No vest, socks, tie.
Mom would get vest, socks, ties, and it's like no vest, no socks.
No vest, no socks, no tie.
Yeah.
Find
That's what
something else. Find
something.
something else.
Do something. I mean, Lord.
Oh
One
Lord,
man
have
said
mercy.
he had two drawers full of vests.
Wow.
It's quite an hilarious skit. I don't know. I think I saw it somewhere. I think Quasies might have posted it, but I'm not sure who did it. But it was quite good. We have some very creative, very talented people here in this country.
I don't know what the mothers are going to say next year. They're going to say, we don't want no we don't want no food hampers. We don't want no breakfast. We don't want no breakfast in bed. We don't want no lunch out. You want to try something else.
Well, I think it's the thought that counts and the heart with which it's done. So,
Yeah, the
yeah,
thought that counts is very important.
sure we
All right,
will. Love.
Amanza, we are coming close and close to the election, but first of all, I want to start off with you on some foreign affairs and domestic matters because
Hmm.
before we get to the meat of the thing, the big politics thing, um, I want to start with something I saw in the Starbucks News this morning. It says in today's Starbucks News editorial, earlier in the month, it says that a Chinese reception calibration with the third years of diplomatic relations with Guyana,
Hmm.
President Ali asked China for help in guarding against Venezuela violation of this country's territorial integrity. Chargé d'affaires Wang
Mm,
Rei of the Chinese embassy here, he said, quote, and I hope they, Guyana, and Venezuela can solve the border issues through friendly consultations and negotiations. Mr.
mhm,
Mr. Wei also said, was quoted as saying, he produced he produced a response from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs rejecting that avenue of isolation and advertising to the fact that the matter between Guyana and Venezuela was pending before this ICJ following a decision by the UN Secretary General in accordance with Geneva Agreement. Now, what are your thoughts on this discussion? Do you think President Ali was trying to secure military support or just diplomatic pressure on Venezuela, or should we be cautious, or should he be cautious um,
mm.
in relation to China and border matters? Because Chinese business here in Guyana is everywhere; it's all over the place, and I think
Mm.
this may appeal to the Chinese, as a quid pro quo by President Ali to at least get help from
Yeah,
China. What are your thoughts?
well, I think it's important for a head of state to seek assistance. There's nothing improper about that. The concern and the balance has to be at all times what is in the best interests of Guyana.
Hmm.
Um, he is correct. The matter is before the ICJ, and therefore, to attempt a parallel solution in terms of friendly dialogue could be problematic for that. And in any event, we have seen the Argyle Declaration and the fact that Venezuela has not upheld any part of that agreement, and in fact, they've flagrantly violated the Argyle Declaration. And so, whilst I cannot take him to task for seeking assistance, what I can take him to task for is the failure of the PPPC administration to do all that it can at home
Hmm.
to face this threat. They're dropping the ball on a number of issues domestically. For example, the map of Guyana continues to be bastardized and in CARICOM by organizations resident in CARICOM. And there is a lukewarm um, approach and response from the administration. We saw Caribbean Beat, the Caribbean Airlines in Flight magazine, publishing our map rather, without Tigray. We saw the same with Cricket World Cup, Cricket West Indies.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be no aggressive diplomatic response to this continued bastardization of the map of Guyana, and it's a problem. And so, whilst Irfan Ali is continues to seek assistance from as he likes to put it, the international partners. He is not doing everything that he can and he must at home to ensure that at a domestic level we are able and capable of defending and supporting our territorial integrity and our sovereignty. In fact, their conduct at home continues to erode that national spirit that we need to face this threat. So I think he's all over the place. Um, and for the last few years, I've been saying that is because there is no national interest guiding their interactions. It's exceedingly transactional, and this is what happens when you have a foreign affairs paradigm that is purely transactional.
Hmm. Well, the cartoon said it all. the cartoon, the
I saw
cartoon,
that. I saw that. I thought
the
the stars
cartoon said it
like.
all. But Amanza, I mean, China getting into the mix of things because China could only be in matters like this for their own benefit. China is known to be into finance and trade and those kind of things. That was one of the
Well,
biggest
well, well,
trade.
every
Right.
nation, Andrew, has to have its own national interest as its North Star, as its guiding star. So, of course, there has to be something that furthers the Chinese interest there. To speculate on what that might be at this juncture, I don't think is particularly helpful. What I believe is that we have to continue to shore up as much international support as we can get without trading away and jeopardizing um, in other ways our sovereignty and our territorial integrity. And I believe that we have to continue to prosecute, as we are, the matter before the ICJ. But I also believe that we have to, at home, do some serious work to shore up local support, because when Guyanese get to the point that they are so disillusioned that they're quite fine saying, let let Ali go to the border, let the sheriff security and them go to the border, we don't feel as if we have anything to fight for. When Guyanese are saying that, and they are saying it with a level of conviction that you know that they are very serious about it, it means that they believe that they have no stake in this country. And
Mm.
that is dangerous. We have to come to a place and we have to govern this country in a manner that says to every Guyanese that you belong, you are seen, you are heard, and your concerns are felt. So, to the degree that just the manifest injustice continues, to the degree that the rampant victimization continues, to the degree that the average Guyanese feels that they are unable to participate in this economy, is the degree to which the PPPC administration continues to jeopardize um, the territorial integrity and the sovereignty of this country.
Hmm. Well said. I know you said that Guyanese, um, you know, not going to feel, safe now, knowing that a lot of Venezuelans are here, ad nauseum. They are here, left, right, and center in all our administrative region. We have seen what showed in Region One, Chinese. I mean, the Venezuelans taking over a whole American hostel. We have seen down here in Guyana as well in Georgetown the wanton spread of Venezuelans and other foreigner persons in the country walking about freely. Some of them don't even have work permit, they're working. Some of them don't even have extension of stay in the country. They are here. That can't happen in America. That can't happen in certain other countries. Trinidad is now trying to remove a lot of them from the country. The prime minister came out the other day and make a big statement that that's not going to happen here. But now we are having in Guyana, it's like no, everything is good. Let's come as you, let's come. And but then again, it's a Trojan horse we are watching here in this country. Who knows? Who knows that very soon, if all of those Venezuelans come together and form themselves in a constituency and a party, and what happened? Boom, in parliament, boom, what happened? Are these
Well,
concerns?
what you are reflecting is the honest concern of the average Guyanese, and there's no sugarcoating it. I think we have to understand and agree that there are immigrants in our country who are fleeing circumstances, who are here simply to feed their families, who are here looking for a better life. And of course, Guyanese, uh, there are more Guyanese living outside of Guyana than in Guyana. So we too have migrated to other places looking for a better life. The distinction that I'm always careful to draw is that Guyanese do not come from a country where they believe that the country that they have migrated to belongs to them, or that a significant portion of the country belongs to them. And that is the case with Venezuela. They have been taught from the time they could read that Essequibo belongs to Venezuela, erroneously so, but that is what they have been taught. And so there is this deep seated belief, and we've seen it here playing out in the way that flags are that the map of Guyana is displayed, or the map of Venezuela is displayed. Either when the map of Guyana is displayed, it's displayed without the Essequibo, or when the map of Venezuela is displayed, it's displayed inclusive of the Essequibo. So there is a real problem. And for us as lawmakers and policymakers to pretend like if there is not a problem is dangerous. Now, Guyanese are a hospitable people, and so we are not going to react to anybody who comes here to work hard and to support their families and to earn a living. We're not going to do that. The anxiety that Guyanese, the anxiety that we're facing is that the government has no plan to protect the Guyanese citizenship. That is the status that allows you to enjoy certain rights, certain privileges, certain benefits, and certain responsibilities. They have no plan to protect that. They have no plan to make sure that within the ranks of these immigrants that are coming, economic migrants, that they're not people in there with intentions that are bad for Guyana and for territorial sovereignty and our integrity. And so, in the interest of expediency, they've opened our borders, not necessarily by an act of commission, as in open the borders, but they have refused or are unable to put in place systems to track, well, to register first, to track, and to monitor the presence um, of these elements, these nefarious elements within our country. Every Venezuelan here is not a bad person, but the government's inability to say to the people of Guyana, or to demonstrate to the people of Guyana, that we have the systems in place to protect against these elements that would seek to harm us, is understandably causing angst and anxiety among the people of Guyana. And so this blame has to be laid squarely at the feet of the PPPC administration. I've been calling for the last 4 years for a migration policy. None has been put in place. And this is the end of the term of the first, this is the end of the parliamentary session. No migration policy has been put in place. So there is no governing infrastructure. And the government continues to be asleep at the wheel, and Guyanese are becoming more anxious. And in my last in my last parliamentary presentation, when we were talking about the voters list, I alluded to the same fear that you have, that because it might have been politically expedient for the government to allow persons who should not be on our list, they have opened up our political system to infiltration and to participation. And it is important that the people of Guyana see and that they understand that, because when September 1 comes and they go to the polls, they have to bear this in mind, that this inability to preserve the advantage for the Guyanese citizen. Yes, foreigners, you come, you work, you earn, you pay your taxes, but you can't just roll up in here and after 1 year you have an ID card and you can vote and you can determine the course of the political and other aspects of this country. That is inconceivable in any other country. But the PPPC, they don't seem to care that this is a glaring and a very clear and present danger for our country. I can't hear you, Andrew.
I'm understanding that we are on foreign affairs matters still. What are what are some of the other foreign affairs? Like, let's give me two. You just talked about two just now. You said foreign policy. Give me two other or three other top foreign affairs issue that's being faced by this government that they're not looking at this moment, that we supposed to be paying attention to, but we're having some problems with, serious problems with.
Well, I alluded to another one earlier, and that is a robust diplomatic response within CARICOM. It is an impasse that CARICOM member states, and not member states, but CARICOM organizations or CARICOM-based organizations are putting up bastardized maps of Guyana on their corporate apparel. A robust response via CARICOM
Yeah.
has to be put in place. We had also called for envoys to be dispatched to CARICOM member states and to other capitals to very vigorously keep Guyana's case alive. There's been no movement on that. We called for a robust public relations campaign. Zero movement on that. And so, had we done that, I dare to say that this level of disrespect that we're seeing today would not have happened. But this government spends an inordinate amount of time and energy on suppressing and victimizing Guyanese citizens, and they're not putting their energies towards protecting the image of this country overseas. They have a lot of energy to send their trolls to troll and to shut down people and to jail people and to they would change the law on the drop of a dime if it suits their purposes. So you lock up people who are protesting for terrorism charges when they could be charged for other offenses. So there's this tendency to come down very hard on Guyanese who dare to speak up and to speak out. But then on the international community, we tolerate disrespect. We allow our map to be bastardized, and there's seemingly no outcry or any protest from the PPPC government. They have all of the energy for the Guyanese people and none to stand up for Guyana and Guyanese on the international stage.
Mm, mm. So sad. I see my co-host Onyx Duncan is in the room. Onyx, good morning.
Morning, morning, Shadow. Morning, Shadow
Um,
Minister of Foreign
Hey,
Affairs.
hey, Onyx, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Onyx, do I say Happy Father's Day? You got children?
Sadly, no. I'm on the ship. That's why it took so long,
I see. I see. I see. What do you have? We
Yeah,
possess. What do you have? We possess say less.
yeah. But happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are joining the program. Happy Father's Day to you, Andrew. I have a question also on foreign policy in regards to our geopolitical strategy. Um, uh, MP, what do you think are the primary challenges you foresee in maintaining Guyana's sovereignty while engaging with foreign powers? Because this has been a talk for the past, well, 4 years in regards to our issue with Venezuela and other international powers there be.
Well, look, what this issue in Venezuela has existed from time immemorial, right? Since independence, we have
Yeah.
been having this struggle with this Western neighbor, it has gotten increasingly belligerent as the years have gone by. But Guyana has always had, up until this Irfan Ali administration, Guyana has always had a particular internal posture. And um, if we are ever affected adversely, it will be because of our internal posture.
Hmm.
It will be because we have allowed ourselves to be compromised from within. And that will be placed squarely at the feet of Guyanese. I've always said that we have to be very cautious because, of course, one of the fundamental tenets of the international legal order is that you do not alter borders by the use of force. And so Venezuela will do its utmost to stay away from using force because they understand the international hammer that could be brought down on them. Could. Because, at the end of the day, it's all about interests, right? But what if they played a long game? What if they understood that we could infiltrate Guyana through the deliberate injection of population into the country? And not only to overwhelm their systems, but to allow the establishment of a parallel population. Because there is this concept in international law called self determination. And so, to keep it simple, a group of people, large enough mass of people, large enough collection of people within a defined geographic area could decide that they want to be governed by somebody else. If they have Venezuelan citizenship, yeah, well, we recognize Venezuela um, as our mother state. Not one shot has been fired. So how is the international community engaging? Not a single shot has been fired. The capture of our local governance system is also possible because you've allowed so many people through this corrupt network of people that you've set up since you amended, this is the PPPC, amended the Registration of Births and Deaths Act to allow for citizenship to be granted on the production of an affidavit by a Tosha or a Justice of the Peace. They did that. And so they have opened us up to be undermined. And so I keep saying, yes, relying on our international partners is important, but it is only contextualized within it is only within the context of the use of force. If no force is used and Venezuela plays the long game, you and I are going to be minority Guyanese citizens. And of course, now it's not about race because we have 6 races here. It is about our status as Guyanese citizens because of the doors that the PPPC has opened. So it is reckless. It is reckless. It is unthinkable that they would put us in this situation that so compromises our internal security.
Lots to consider, lots to talk about. Honestly, got a follow up.
Yeah, I have a two-part question, and I saw you was playing some videos in regards to oil and oil discovery, and I think we never had this conversation with Amanza at any point. But I want to understand from you, as the Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs, how do you think the discovery of oil shaped Guyana's foreign policy strategies, and also what measures do you think we should put in place to ensure that the benefits, because we've seen how these cash grants have, somewhat negatively impact our country and the economy. What measures are you think we should put in place to ensure that the benefits of our oil are equitably distributed and managed by our policy makers and the powers that be? Oh, you're muted, Amanza.
Sorry. No, I'm saying that's a two-part question. And so as it relates to how oil has positioned us on the world stage, absolutely it has been a game changer because we were this small backwater country that a lot of people didn't know about. And then of course we discovered oil, and suddenly we are international players. And so it has given us the ability to enjoy a presence on the world stage that is not commensurate with the size of our population, etc., because we're by no means a large country population wise. But the discovery of oil has certainly given us an elevated status on the world stage. Internationally, I don't think that we have been leveraging it in a way that will seek to solidify our status in the international community. And particularly when you think about the concentric circles in which we operate, you think about CARICOM, for example. Venezuela used Petrocaribe for the sole purpose of undermining Guyana's status within CARICOM. And this is why when I say, you see, Venezuela plays the long game, we have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Guyana, as a founding member, as the headquarters of CARICOM, has always enjoyed a particular status in CARICOM. So what Venezuela skillfully did through Petrocaribe is to give concessionary oil to CARICOM member states, including Guyana, back in the day, at very concessionary rates. And so politics at the end of the day is local. So they placed CARICOM member states in a position where they're conflicted. Because here I am, Venezuela has this dispute with Guyana, but Venezuela is giving me almost free oil.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I do? Because I win elections at home based on how I'm able to supply oil, how I'm able to buy fuel, how I'm able to generate electricity, etc. And that improves my standing at home. So what Guyana has to do, because now of where because of where we are now, is to do that back and to become and to reassert itself in CARICOM as a nation, a CARICOM member state that CARICOM brothers and sisters could rely on for support. Because that is what Venezuela did. And so this is why Ralph Gonzalez is so conflicted. No, this is very, very serious. So we have to reassert ourselves as it relates to CARICOM, and we have to be able to to use this newfound oil wealth to be able to do that. One of the things that I have been advocating for is, yes, we have a contract. There's sanctity of contract, but sanctity of contract does not negate strong regulatory oversight.
No.
And that is where we are failing, because you have one man on Thursday afternoon who apparently makes all of the decisions.
Yeah.
Why up to now we don't have a national oil company is beyond me. The Middle Eastern countries that they like to refer to as being models all have a national oil company. Why have we not established one? So it is fine to make noise about the contract, but we have not optimized our local institutional arrangements to make sure that we get the best of what we have. And I think when we talk about this, people misconstrue say, oh, you don't want to renegotiate. How about making the best of what you have? Set up an oil company, set up a strong regulatory uh, framework for this. Make sure that your CSR responsibilities within the contract are
Mm-hmm.
honored and are elevated. There's so many things to do, but what it requires is a strategic approach at the national level, at the level of government, instead of one man with three yes men around him making all of the decisions for Guyanese. That is nonsense and it has to stop. It has to stop because I guarantee you, Exxon is not approaching this with this devil may care attitude that Jack Dio and the rest of his folks seem to be doing. Our oil department looks like a four-man team. No, I mean if it were not so sad, it would be hilarious. Jagdio, Gosai, and two other. Well, I don't even know if what's his name, the minister of
Natural resources.
Vikram. I don't
Vikram
know if
Bharat.
he has
Yes.
a say. So I
Vikram
don't know
Bharat.
if I could count him in the four. So this is where we are, and we are taking it. And as Guyanese, we keep absorbing these blows, and we don't seem to understand that we have the ability to demand better. The government works for the people, not otherwise. We don't have to take it.
Well, it
Gentlemen,
seems that
it's
it
Sunday morning, man. Can't we just
they don't care neither. They don't care with nothing. So we got to keep them on the toes. Man, so let's jump to some other domestic matters here. I see that we have another case in the court pertaining to um, this issue with Skello. All right. We have seen a colonial era law against Daniel Wharton, known as Baby Skello, on charges of blasphemous libel. Now, do you think these charges, um, you know, stifles the very freedom of expression enshrined in the Constitution, or do you see this being weaponized by the PPC in the future because you have elections coming up? You will see all kinds of what you call it, music
Jingles.
and songs and jingles coming out against one another. Who for and against, and who's this and who did this, blah blah blah. Are you gonna see all kind of things coming out? And you're gonna see one party saying that we accept it, another party is saying we don't accept it, and it's going to be a whole weaponization of this colonial era law against persons charged by for blasphemous libel. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, look, I don't generally agree with Priya Manik Chan on much that she says, but somebody sent me her post, and I have to agree. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. But it is also symptomatic of just how broken the justice system is. And it is also sad because when things like this happen, it reinforces the belief in the ordinary Guyanese that down to the judiciary we can't trust to be impartial.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That is what I want people to understand. It does real harm when people believe that they can't trust the courts. Because you will have somebody that raped a 13-year-old girl put out on bail, but you will remand the man to say, no, I have not heard the song. I understand that our Hindu brothers and sisters were offended by whatever he said. I understand that he apologized. So why do you remand him? It also feeds into the narrative that it is because he's a black man. And
Hmm.
this is what is so damaging to this country because the PPPC administration, they understand that people are going to be outraged. They understand that people are going to call out the fact that he's a black man. They understand that when people call out the fact that this is being done to him because he is a black man, it will more than likely alienate our Indo-Guyanese brothers and sisters and continue to fuel this foolishness that we have going on in this country. And so they're deliberately doing this because it is either the Afro-Guyanese stay silent and become cowed, which is not going to happen, or if an Afro-Guyanese stands up and speaks up, they are able to tell the Indo-Guyanese, we are the only ones that could keep you safe and keep themselves in power in that way. It is a dastardly cycle that they continue to impose on the people of Guyana, and we have to wake up, shake ourselves out, and realize that whilst they keep us pitted one against the other here, they're raping our country, running away with our resources.
Mm-hmm.
And you down here are poor, whether you're black, you're Indian, it doesn't matter. You are not able to enjoy the fat of this land, so to speak. So it really, really is a cynical thing that is happening. And it's sickening because it's something that has kept us in a bind since we became independent as a nation, and we continue to struggle with it from day to day. We continue to fall for it, and the government, this PPPC administration in particular, they know how to throw a drop of kerosene on the fire to keep the fires of ethnic strife burning, so that they could keep us
Absolutely.
occupied with that dung. They know to throw the gasoline on the fire to keep the ethnic fires burning, to consume us enough so that they could get away with their mischief at the top there. It's time Guyanese stand up and look up and understand what is happening.
Honestly, got to follow up on that.
Yeah, well, I don't want to intrude on my best friend's day to day, Priya Manik Chan. But it shows, Amanda, that clearly that all of this is being done for political points, and even the politicians don't have to say it, because you would see the post that she made, and the persons who commented on the post saying that you're just doing this because it's to gain political points. And every day we see it. Every day we see it, and there's a thing I talk about: selective activism. If you don't speak on every issue as a politician, your action and inactions, are what position you take in whatever situation there is. So we've seen clearly, and you said kerosene, and I have to correct you because they continue to gaslight every situation that doesn't need to be gaslight. So yeah, I agree with you totally, Amanza. But I just want to switch a little bit, because we were on crunch time. I think matters of national interest and national importance need to be discussed, Amanza, in regards to going into this 2025 elections. We talk a lot about what the PPP has been doing, and I don't feel it's something that we should continue to stress about, because time and time again I've said they are barefaced. They're barefaced. They will continue to do the gods, and they won't see it as a problem. And we have to move on from that. And although we have to still highlight it from time again, but we need to move on. How do you see us as opposition, as parties that oppose this blasphemous regime, this corrupt regime, going forward into 2025 elections, and bringing this together as one?
Well, I have stated for the longest of times that I am a proponent of coalition politics. I've said all along that Section 13 of the Constitution talks about an inclusive democracy, and I believe that it is important for people of diverse views, diverse beliefs to be able to come to the table and to iron out the best course of action. That is what it is meant by an inclusive democracy. And I'm deeply disappointed, and I've said this publicly, at the state of our coalition talks. It's been 6 months, and the people of Guyana are emotionally invested in this, and so we have, I think, as opposition members, really have to stand up and take stock of ourselves. Because you're right, it's one thing to point out about the PPP, but it's another thing to take stock of ourselves. I think we're going to have to take some very hard decisions, some very, very hard decisions. But ultimately, it will have to be in the best interest of the people of Guyana who elected us to serve them. We do not serve. And when we stood and we took an oath to defend and to uphold the Constitution of Guyana. And that is a serious oath. And this goes beyond party and person. It is about what we do in the best interest of the people of Guyana. And so I share the frustration of a lot of people. I share the frustration of a lot of Guyanese, and something has to be done. Something has to be done. Um, we have to demonstrate to the people that we have their best interests at heart, that their interests come before wheeling and dealing and all of these things. And I think as diverse as the parliamentary opposition may be, we have a lot of parties emerging, etc. As diverse as that may be, we have to have the ability to come together and to iron those matters out in the best interest of the people of Guyana. There's a lot of work to be done. Guyana belongs to all of us, and there are over 218 or 19,000 Guyanese that voted for the current parliamentary opposition. And so, it's a heavy, it's a heavy mandate that we have, and it has to be taken seriously. People are depending on us.
Mhm.
The lives of Guyanese are depending on us. And so, like I said, I am equally concerned, equally frustrated, but not deterred. If you know me, I'm never uh, deterred. Um, it's not over until it's over, and we're gonna keep forging on and pressing on. I regret that I wasn't in the room with the coalition talks. I think sometimes diverse perspectives and gendered perspectives are also needed on things, but we are where we are, and it is to craft a way forward, a dynamic way forward that could galvanize Guyanese and get us all on one page. Because I will tell you, all of us agree on one thing: the PPP is bad for Guyana.
Yeah.
Some of the PPP supporters agree that the PPP is bad for Guyana.
Yeah. Amanza, I just want to put you on the spot. Definitely.
Well,
You
well, Andrew knows that I actually have to start another program at 11.
at 11. All right. One more quick question.
Yes.
Sorry, but I just want to put you on the spot. I know there are many things floating around on Facebook, and your name keeps popping up as probably a possible presidential candidate. What do you have to say about that? And at some point in your political career, have you thought about, as a woman, vying for that position in our country today?
I've seen a lot on the internet. I've seen a lot on the internet. But what I will say is this: I think we are in a time that requires very bold and very decisive leadership. I think the system of politics that we have is, if people see something in you, then you have to ponder about it. You have to ponder about it. For me, I got into politics to serve. um, God has blessed me tremendously. I've had an extremely good professional career. I've been able to work with some of the best international organizations for the last maybe 20 years. And so for me, my posture is how do I best serve the people of Guyana? Because we're living in a different time and the old paradigms don't hold. We have a younger generation now that's craving something different, that they want um, more. And so for me, I continue to think about how do we deliver that to them? How do we become dynamic enough to deliver that to them? So for me, that is where my mind is really and truly, and it is for me. If the people of Guyana see that in you and they desire it, because sovereignty belongs to the people of Guyana, who, as the Constitution says, exercises that sovereignty through their elected representatives. So it's always a question of what the people of Guyana want, because at the end of the day, they will get the government that they vote for. And as I am on that, which is why it is extremely important that we make sure that GCOM's feet are held to the fire, because the PPPC has demonstrated time and again that they're not above stealing the vote of the ordinary Guyanese. They're not above thwarting the will of the people of Guyana. They've become very good at propagandizing um, their, and painting the other people as being the people responsible for this. But in trying to deflect attention away from them and pointing to the other person, they are in fact buying time and space to do their machinations. But then again, they've become so brass faced about it that they really don't care. Anil is advising GCOM. They're giving you 3 days for claims and objections to review a list that's 783, over 700,000 voters on there, and you have a 5-day claims and objections period, 3 days for claims, I think, and 2 days for objections, something like that. So they don't care. They don't care. And I think it will require radical action to hold these people accountable, because we've been going around this bush every 5 years, wrong and wrong this bush. And what do we do? What do we do? When do we decide we're jumping off? We're not going to have any more of this. Enough is enough. We have to stop, take stock of ourselves, and govern this country in the best interest of the people of Guyana.
What a way to end Amanza Walton-Desir on the program this morning. Amanza, thank you very much for being on the program this morning. Just in passing, before you exit the room, you have a big concern about this whole thing about parliamentary norms and parliamentary constitutional norms. I see Gita Class across the floor. She's now gone to the PPP. You believe that she should be expunged. She should be recalled. But this whole thing about MPs vying for an office in Parliament comes under party slate. Do you think it is time now that the constitution change to have MP now campaigning in their own constituency for an MP post in Parliament? Your mic.
I have always supported that. I think that is the essence of true representation. I think the slate system does a disservice, because you could be put on there based on the whim and fancy of whoever heads that list. And so service, for me, when you sign up for an MP, you sign up for service. Service is not a reward. Service is not a reward. So it is hard, grueling work. So the wheeling and the dealing and the jostling to be on a list, I think it does the people of Guyana a severe disservice. A severe disservice, because they do not necessarily get the best. It depends on how good you and I are, or if you don't like me, I don't go, and you play with people's emotions. So there's a lot there that has to be changed. But we have to be brave enough to step up and say, you know what, enough is enough. This has to change. The people of Guyana deserve the best. In most other CARICOM countries, MPs have to run in their constituencies and win in order to go. where we are, if I could butter you up well enough, you're guaranteed to be there.
That's it.
You
For
know, and
years.
y'all know I speak the truth straight from the hip as best as I know it. You know what I'm saying? So how long do we do that? How long do we do that? Guyanese people deserve the best. And I'm happy that Christopher Ram brought that case, because I truly believe that it's time that we go back to that type of system where I am in a constituency, I work, I represent the people, and I am placed there, and their faith and trust is placed in me based on the measure of my representation.
All right, Amanza, thank you very much. And you have to go. We're going to see you back here again some other time. As the election campaign steps up, we're going to be back here a lot of time. Thank you.
Ready for
them.
But
thank you, man. Thank you so much.
We have some serious days ahead, and we have our decisions to make. And you know, this is going to be a watershed election, and you know.
I know you were back home. The PvP was in Linden, and they try out.
They were in Linden. They were in Linden. I was in Linden yesterday. They were in Linden the day before, and you know, they were there and sharing out contracts and so on and so forth. You know, my position is that money belongs to the people of Guyana. It's not Irfan Ali or Bar Jagdio's money. So if contracts are sharing, you had better go and make sure that you get one. Where you have to draw the line, though, is if they require your soul in exchange for these few dollars, then you have a personal decision to make. But certainly that money belongs to Guyanese. And guys, I gotta run. My next appointment.
You, Amanza.
Love you guys. God bless.
All right.
God bless you.
Today for you. Oh my word. Anyway, you know, as far as I gotta run to myself. You and I also need to do right now in the background.
I have a training, and we're preparing. If you're hearing, guys, we're preparing for training GCOM stuff. So it's a lot of work.
I'm heading there right now, so I'm gonna see you in a bit. Have a good
All right, guys.
All right, that's it. That's our show for this morning. We're gonna see you back here next Sunday for another edition of the Countdown. Bye bye. Have a great day, and fathers, enjoy your day, man. Enjoy your day. Goodbye.
You know Guyana been making more than $1.5 billion a day from oil since 2022? So how come now, just before election, you're getting a little cash grant, eh? In 2022 alone, the government spent out 98% of the Natural Resources Fund. And what you get? Nothing. Now them a come with one little handout, like if it's a present. Let me be real. That and we money. You're supposed to get your fair share every year, not only when them want vote. We need law for share out them cash grants steady, not wait pon politicians' mood. Jam public listen, not that fool. Demand answers, demand your peace. And we money. And we want we fair share every year. Alliance for Change, we standing up for your future.
Fly Mongoose.